All right, greetings viewers. Thanks for joining me for another installment on LS Swap the Shop truck. I think I left you with most of the underneath stuff hooked up. Gonna do this part in this episode. I don't know about getting it fired up, but we're gonna make some more progress here. I still need to hook this O2 up. There are two pinks that came to this same harness that didn't distinguish between bank 1 and 2. So I'm thinking it doesn't matter. Either one will work. I'll find out for sure. Got my heater hoses hooked up. Got this thing all hooked up. This steam tube or whatever it's called here, I think it's a steam vent. I'm not using the existing LS radiator because this was broke off. This is in the middle of the tank, and man, I don't want to risk that. I tow on the highway and stuff with this. This is just permanent for right now with some zip ties. This one goes to the radiator. Will go to the old radiator too. This steam vent can be put into here with a T. And that's what's going to happen here. We'll get to that. I have the fittings that go into my old radiator for the transmission cooler. And right now I'm just hooking it up to the radiator because I don't have enough fittings to make it go through the cooler. And I'd probably like to change that cooler, as it's been on there since it looks like the early 90s. Now, if you remember, I do know the history of this truck, and I do know the guy that had it when it was brand new. And I know that cooler was put on when it was brand new. Now, I got my pressure line hooked up here. One of the things I have to get at the junkyard tomorrow, which if I didn't already mention it, we're doing a junkyard run tomorrow. Maybe I'll get some footage of that, maybe not. But I need that return nipple. I found 4 in my garage. None of them will fit this box, and like an idiot, I threw that away. But asshole K, I can go get one from the junkyard. I've got to get my OBD2 port also from the junkyard. I want to do some junkyard searching while I'm there and see if I can find exhaust, any more 3-inch exhaust. You know, I got that whole other side Flowmaster muffler and everything from a junkyard vehicle. But anyway, I'm mostly hooked up, wired up, readied up, got things sorted-ish. And yeah, so we're going together. My buddy's coming over tomorrow. I'm hoping to make big-time progress with getting the transmission cooler, radiator, hoses, etc., and wiring and shit just enough to get it fired up, even though it won't have complete exhaust yet. You know, it's always fun to fire them up on a little open header, so to speak, a little stub pipe coming down there. I was just going to make a block off for that evap, and I got to looking at it, and I thought I could just silicone this end up. But I want to get one of them fancy little brushed aluminum plates, so I got that coming. I got my O2 sensor coming from the local parts store. What else did I? A fuel filter with a return built into it. So we haven't got to the fuel system yet. I have a pump here I could probably make work. That's an inline fuel injection type pump. We'll see. We'll see on that, how that goes. I need to wire that brake booster up here. The hose for that is right there. I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll be back tomorrow when my buddy's here, and we're gonna get some stuff done. I got underneath there and I found a 1/4-inch shim. Might have seen it laying on the floor yesterday, that went under that transmission mount. Lifting that transmission another 1/4 of an inch brought these down tubes even further away from the frame, because way back there, lifting it 1/4 of an inch moved the motor away from the frame, especially on the driver's side. So enough about that. That's installed. Everything's bolted up and hooked up underneath. Shifter linkage and exhaust is all I have left there. All right, I said I'd see you tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. All right, viewers, it's Nexter and it's a lot darker today than it was. The lighting is poor because a huge storm came through. Tornadoes were actually less than 5 miles from my house. I went by and looked at a lot of damage today. Thankfully, not a lot of homes, but we saw 11 power poles in a row broke off in half with a bunch of fencing and trees down. Thankfully, all the houses looked great. Enough about that for the moment, though. Back under here, now I think I had the heater hoses hooked up. You can see down there now, I have the lower radiator hose hooked up. Now, I'm using the LS motor hose. I'm using the 5.7 radiator. Could I maybe fit that radiator in here? Yes. The reason I'm not is because this steam tube port is broken off right there. And it's in the middle of the tank right there. Okay, I don't want to risk that leaking. So for now, I can vent this into this line and it fit right on my existing radiator with only a minimal amount of persuasion. Okay, it's a little stretched out, but it fit no problem. Okay, radiator hose lower, barely any difference in the size, so that's fine. Now, I've got this issue here with these lines coming up from my transmission with the press fit and clip type fittings, and needing to put these in to my radiator from the old 700R4. Now, I cut these off, I put them in my flaring tool, and I flared the back side. So I got a flared end to a flared end. I will put these in a piece of hose from here to here, and then put clamps on either side. I got a flare on either side. There's not that. Okay, I'm not going to recommend you do that shit because I don't want to hear any bitching, all right? Enough about that, but if you see me do something on here, come on. I'm a guy in my garage. I'm showing you what I do. Clearly, I don't have the kind of show that is instructional. Please like, subscribe, and comment and all that stuff and help my show grow. But yeah, I'm just showing you what I'm doing. So don't bitch at me if you don't like something about it, because I don't want to hear it. Enough about that. I'm tired of negative comments already. And anyway, I bent one for up here, and it'll tie into this hose right here. When I cut that and hook them together, I'll show you what I did. This one down here will swing around to the bottom port, and here's my bottom port, straight fit, and I flared this in. Yes, that'll work. You do it at your own risk. Now, when it comes to fuel lines, yeah, I'll do the same thing. You put some flares on, you shove the hose on, you put 3 or 4 clamps on, but I can't tell you to do that, so I'm not. This top hose fit, it's kind of funny. I like these retainers, but over here, there's a hole in there that almost fits and lines up with this, but I don't want to kink the hose. I don't want to buy any hose, but I got the radiator hooked up. My buddy and I had such a great time today wrenching. Man, when you're wrenching with a good buddy, Yeah, it's worth every minute. It's nice to work with somebody that knows what's going on too. Holy cow. I love going up to Michigan working with my buddy. I love it when my buddy Charlie comes over and we get to do some wrenching. It's just such a great day. Over here you'll see now, I had to go to the junkyard. I said I might film that, but I didn't do anything fun. I took that nipple off the donor truck that I forgot to grab. It's a perfect fit with this one elbow piece of hose that I happen to have. It was part of a Toyota Tundra return line kit, okay? I had it on my shelf. It turned out with the straight fitting that came off the 05 donor trucks, rack and pinion, bolted right in there like it's supposed to in my gearbox, and actually perfect fit with the LS pump. So that was dandy. This is the pressure line, of course, that came from the LS motor, and it went straight out and down and back on that, but it makes a nice loop and bolts right in, so still no money spent. Drop tools all day. There is a ground bolt for the ground wire that came off. Did I mention the reason there's no lighting is because a huge storm came through, and tornadoes. The neighbor's generator's running. I feel like I got to talk over it. Maybe I'm just yelling at you. Anyway, we found a self-tapper that would go into the frame down there for this ground wire that came off the negative. For a battery. All right, kind of sorry I chose to party all day and then make the video, but not really sorry I chose to party all day and then make a video. That box doesn't mean anything to me any longer, I'm pretty sure. The ground wire, though, does go up to the terminal. It was a frame ground. I guess that's the point I was trying to make. Your engine goes engine to body in at least 2 different places here. You've got battery to engine block. You've got battery to frame. You've got engine block to body. You've got body to frame. That's how all your grounds transport around and make everything work. There's an extra ground strap there, braided. Maybe you can see it. I still need to hook that up. We're going to discuss that here in a minute. But right now I got my battery tray next. This is the battery tray out of the Donor 05. It sat, this bracket, in the fender well. It sat up where my horn is, kind of, and held the battery at a side. I want to turn the battery this way, so I'm going to weld it to my fender well. Don't know if you can see in there. There's a couple good places, but right now I have no power. I had the power steering fluid was leaking while it sat here. I don't know if you saw that. Now that I have all the lines hooked up, I filled the power steering fluid reservoir full, and it isn't leaking any longer. I use the 5.7 radiator. Okay, I already talked about how well the hoses fit. The fan fits perfect. It doesn't hit anything. You can spin it, and it doesn't hit anything. It's already screwed on, but spinning it backwards is kind of unscrewing it. So let me turn it back on there. And the way the motor spins, it bolts the fan on, okay? The wires, I'll probably continue to wrap them up so that they don't look psychedelic, or I might use a variety of different color wiring or wire tape and make that look funny. But anyway, I'm going to weld that battery box on. Over here, I put my plugs back together. I have the bracketry and all that holds this to that motor or that battery mount plate. This is 2 pieces like I just showed you. Oh, stay up there. The ECM, the computer, and its bracket and its cover bolts on right there. Okay, I have all that, but I ain't sure how that's going to fit in. Still got to do my own fuse box. You can look at everybody else's video and they show you how to use the factory one. I don't want to do that. Right now, this is just laying in the corner. Need to get my drive-by-wire hooked up. That's one thing we didn't do today. But I got to tell you, having a buddy come over and help you do all of the little piddly crap, bolt this up. Oh, I need a bolt here. We got to go get that. I got my OBD2 port today while I was at the junkyard. And I got a taillight too because I need one. But, yeah, getting all that little piddly stuff done, getting this hooked up, getting that hooked up. Things are in, things are bolted up, radiators in, shrouds are on, ground straps bolted up, exhaust ready to go together. I still haven't decided what I want to do for my shifter. We took that evap poured out. I got my plate coming for some shinies. What else? Lots of things hooked up. And everything you can scratch off your list is a plus. Trust me. Oh yeah, and the intake. Where everything's at over there. Okay, I was going to show you. You ever have your power go out and you flip the light switch every time you go by anyway? Well, it's been, almost a whole, 18 hours since my power went out. Anyway, I had a plan for cutting this off and epoxying a plate on there. I don't want to hand cut it, and all my power tools are in op because of the power outage I'm experiencing right now. I got this thing almost ready to fire up. Okay, I know which wires need to go to which places. The old Chevy shop truck is getting so close to being ready to run again. I'm so excited. It's all going to fit under the hood too. What do you think of that? All right. Oh, so the last episode wasn't supposed to come out until today, but it came out 2 days early because I did something wrong. Not surprised. In the seat here, I can put the glove box back together because I took it out to pull the computer, but I can put that back in. That's my tail light. There's my OBD2 plug. I'll show you how to wire that up, which signal wire you need. That's my drive-by-wire computer and my foot pedal. That'll need bolted in. We'll get to that. Yeah, this is a lot of parts, not too long. Just showing you what I'm doing, all right? I've already heard from everybody how shitty my channel is. So, you know, do the opposite and like and subscribe. Or if you just hated it, then, you know, hey, leave me a comment saying you hated it. That'll help my algorithm, right? But seriously, thanks for joining me. Thank you for joining me out here. I'll have some more done here in the next couple days. So, hey, I'll just wait and save all that. What do you think? Okay, so anyway, yeah, I don't need to hear about that. So say, why don't you like and subscribe and comment and tell me what you think I should do to make my show better. I am going to celebrate the awesomeness of my LS about ready to go. In 2 days, my buddy will be back. We'll finish up some more stuff, maybe get it to fire up. All right, so hang on. I'll be back. I did also want to mention, like the cutting of the pipe here. I'm trying to make this as inexpensive as possible. I spent almost as much for that silly freaking cap there as I did for the seals for it. But I'm still trying to do this as inexpensive as possible. I'm not going to count that because it isn't necessary. You could silicone the other one shut. That's why I'm making my own pieces here, like for the transmission. But one of the things I want to say, like, yeah, I've zip tied this up. This is kind of a bad example, but that'll do for now. It's sturdy. I can fix that later. My transmission line, if I have a leak or a bad pressure issue, I can fix a transmission line in an afternoon. My fuel system, you're going to see me rig up a fuel system that I probably can't show on YouTube, but I'm going to do it and it's going to work, and you can take it with a grain of salt. All right, so I got exhaust. I got most of my wiring done. I know what wiring I need to put where. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to reinforce the point where if something isn't quite right, you can change it later. But if everything works right now for base price, and I was going to say $500 LS swap, but then I changed to the 4L80. 4L60E, 4L60. Right now, everything is going along smoothly and still at barely over $700. So I can change a few things. I can change, yeah, stuff later as necessary. But right now, that's where it's going. You could do it too. I need to close up that hole right there and run my drive-by wires. I'm going to need a bigger hole for that over there. Start hooking up my transmission lines. There's going to be more to this video. I'll just stop babbling. Well, it's day 2 of no power, living in the Stone Ages here. I went ahead and found a way to vent my steam tube. I found that little Y fitting came off the transmission vent. It's a little small, but if you clamp it down, it'll fit. I'll see how it holds. This is another one of those things that I might be able to get it running and moving, and I need to change that. Same thing with this. I got the air box, the air intake, mass airflow hooked up. I just not enough room put the factory air box in unless I cut the snorkels off of it, but then it'd be right up against my fender, not drawing air. So I may get one of them cheesy cone filters to put on there for something to have. Now on my lines, I said I was going to go from my flared fittings to my little push fit fittings. Well, instead I cut those off and used my flares and some hose and a couple of clamps and got both of those on. Now I'm glad I looked in here because that reminds me I need to tighten them down on the radiator. But that's ready. Antifreeze is in. Still got to weld the battery box up. Then we're on to wiring and firing. Still waiting on that little piece. I should have probably ordered it somewhere else. It's been 3 days and they haven't shipped it yet. But I digress. So sit tight. Hopefully the power will come back on over the next day before my buddy comes back, and we try to get this bad mamma jamma to make some noise. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up with a little bit more of what I've got done. It is 68 hours into our blackout. A power truck finally went down our road My yard doesn't gather water, but it's gathering water. Clearly I need more rocks. Okay, now, excuse me, I have hooked up a few things. Maybe I showed you, the air box, but I didn't show you that I cut that big silencer off. And right now it's just duct taped because I don't have any power, and I'm thinking maybe I can epoxy that. I don't really need power for that, but I want to see if this fits the hood or not first. I showed you the transmission lines where I cut and flared those. I got coolant in here. I added transmixer fluid. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you here, and I'm going a little overboard on this whole not spending any more money thing. This is the airbox that came with the LS motor out of the 05 truck, okay? It had snorkels in this end, and if I would have had to cut them off to get it to fit under here and still hook up to that hose. All right, they were on this end, but you get where I'm coming from. As tall as it was taller than the hood, so it wouldn't really work. So what I did, and my buddy come over, he had one of them power outlets on his vehicle, and we ran the grinder and cut this air box down. It still needs to be cleaned up, but let me show you what I'm doing with it. All right, what you see, I cut that short like that. Hey, look, oh, my lights just came on. See the fan moving? Hot dog. I had power for a second. Anyway, I can plug in my mass airflow, no worries. I cut that off. If I angle it in there or even run it flat and support it up, it's an open filter, okay? So even if I have to run it like this and let it be open on the bottom, yeah, I can support it up as high as I can get it where it'll still fit under the hood. So anyway, enough on that for the moment. I can plug it in. I want to wait and see how that works. So we're getting down to just wiring up that. I got a list we'll go over here in a minute. And then I'm going to end this for now until I get my power so I can get my poop in a group. All right, now, this is my old shifter linkage. It can still fit in the frame here. It can still hook up to the existing manual rod here. This would move the shifter doohickey on the side of the transmission. This one, I think, on this 4L60 moves the other way, so I can cut this in this area. It needs shortened anyway. Flip this part over, and it'll move the opposite way, right? I can extend the rod. All right, we can experiment with that when I have time and lights and a saw and a welder. I still have my battery box figured out. I just need to weld it. I got most of my wires ready to wire up for a test fire. So I've got here, let me see, things that are coming up. I need a radiator cap and an O2 sensor to wire up the O2 sensor. I need fuel line, which I think I have, and a filter that has a return on it. Air filter, I think I got. Battery tray, I pretty much got, but it ain't welded yet. Mount the computer, I got that stuff. The go pedal plus the wire up, I got that. That shouldn't be too hard. Trans shifter linkage, I think I have that figured out. Wire to bitch up, I'm ready. Gauges, that comes after. Exhaust, we can fire it up first. Wire OBD2 port, gonna have to do that before fire up. A battery, probably should get one of those. Top off the antifreeze and top off the trans fluid. So enough about this. According to the map, I'm not going to have power today, even though it did just flash for a minute. So I'm going to end this. So thanks for joining me again out in the shop on the LS swap. It's liable to be another week at this point before I have a chance to work on it, because I've been without power for days and I'm behind on regular work. And there goes another power truck down the road. I couldn't be happier to see them. So appreciate you, love you. Thanks for joining me for some of the best mediocre automotive content on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comments for easy and painless. Have a super great day.